Today I reveal the beginning of a path where divine justice will fall upon 4 enemies, and the last one will be so unexpected that it will change the way you see everything around you. So stay with me until the end, because none of this is accidental. I will show you how God moves in silence, how he prepares the ground, and how he brings down the first person who harmed you without you even noticing. This message is not meant to create fear, but to return power to your spirit. You have endured more than anyone else would have been able to carry. And because of that, today begins the downfall of those who touched what was sacred to you. Have you wondered why your soul has felt restless lately? Before we continue, write your decree in the comments. I, Sagittarius, claim my divine justice today. Seal your energy by writing it, because that act opens a door that has been closed for a long time. Discover with me the strength that has always belonged to you. Subscribe to Cosmic Treasure. Give it a like and activate the notification bell so nothing that is about to be revealed escapes you. What is coming is deep, real, and connected directly to your life. The most important revelation will be at the end. The first enemy God brings down today is someone with whom you once had a broken emotional bond, someone who knew your feelings and played with them deliberately. This person knew exactly how to hurt you because you once trusted too much. They were not a stranger. They were someone who walked close to you and took advantage of your vulnerability. Their energy was always rooted in manipulation, pettiness, and control. God witnessed every silent tear this person caused. Do you remember the day you thought you had lost your worth? This enemy appeared in your life like a distorted mirror. Someone who pretended to support you but secretly celebrated your difficulties. Their hypocrisy was disguised as advice that confused you more than it helped. They constantly demanded your understanding without ever offering you theirs. They had the ability to make you feel guilty for things you never did. Divine justice now confronts them with their own masks. Do you realize how your intuition was always warning you? Your bond with this person was emotionally deep, and that is why it was so difficult for you to see their true intentions. They spoke to you with sweetness, but their heart held a shadow you were never meant to carry. They fed off your energy when you were weakened. They used your insecurities as tools to influence your decisions. They claimed to care for you, yet acted as a constant saboteur. Have you ever felt you were giving too much to someone who did not deserve it? God intervenes now because this situation could no longer continue. The scales tilt definitively. And what once seemed unfair now returns multiplied to the one who caused the harm. The person who wounded you emotionally will face a downfall that reveals to others what you endured in silence. This is not human revenge. It is universal balance. The truth will be exposed without you having to act. Can you feel the beginning of liberation moving within you? This enemy loses power over you because God breaks the invisible threads that once tied you to them. Their manipulation no longer works, and their words no longer pierce your peace. What once made you doubt now strengthens your steps. This person may try to come back, but divine protection will not allow their influence. Your soul begins to reclaim the ground it gave up out of exhaustion. Do you notice how your perception has shifted since your spiritual awakening? And God shows you now what you could not see before. This person feared your light. They feared your growth, your ability to rise again after every fall. And that is why they tried to dim you. But when someone tries to extinguish what God has ignited, the result is always the revelation of their own darkness. This person will be confronted with what they created, and you will witness how divine justice operates effortlessly. Are you ready to release what has been draining you? The universe now blocks any influence this person may attempt to impose on you. It is as if a spiritual wall rises, impossible for them to penetrate. Their words no longer reach you. Their energy no longer touches you. And their intentions no longer affect you. God places you on a level where this person simply cannot reach you. The elevation you receive is quiet but powerful. Can you feel that they no longer affect you the way they once did? This emotional enemy will be the first to fall, but not the most dangerous. Their downfall opens the way for a greater revelation. God prepares you to clearly identify what you once confused with love. Truth arrives as a light you cannot ignore. And that light shows you why this person could never walk with you into your destiny, even if it hurts. Liberation is an act of divine mercy. What will you do with the space that is now opening in your life? The fall of this enemy marks the beginning of your spiritual transformation. This is the exact point where you release the attachment to what harmed you. Your heart begins to strengthen, rise, and remember its worth. God not only removes this person, He restores the part of you that was damaged, and this prepares you to face the next 3 enemies with clarity. Can you feel your strength returning? Now you know who the first enemy was, but 3 remain, and each one represents a different test that God is already dismantling. The last one will be the most surprising, because it is someone you would never imagine, someone whose true identity will shock you. But before reaching that final revelation, you must understand the second enemy, whose influence affects you more than you admit. Everything is unfolding in divine order, and you are being guided toward an inevitable truth. The energy around you shifts as the second enemy reveals itself. Someone who has interfered with your path quietly, yet consistently. Someone who never confronted you directly, but always pushed your opportunities into the shadows. This figure did not act from emotion like the previous one, but from cold, calculated envy. Their connection to you is professional or work-related, a person who feared your natural ability to stand out. God has observed every obstacle this person placed in your way, and now the moment comes to tear down what they built with bad intentions. Have you wondered why certain advancements stopped without explanation? This enemy represents competition disguised as camaraderie, someone who pretended to support you while secretly closing doors the moment you turned your back. They talked about being a team, but acted as an opportunistic saboteur. They were always attentive to your ideas, not to help you, but to delay them or claim them as their own. Their strategy was always the same. Minimize your talents so no one else would see them shine. God now decides to expose this shadow to the eyes of those who need to see it. Do you already know who fits this description? The connection between you two is marked by professionalism, but also by a subtle tension that always made you feel observed. This enemy saw a potential in you that surpassed theirs. And instead of being inspired, they chose manipulation. They controlled information, distorted situations, and made comments to influence how others perceived you. You sensed something was wrong, but you couldn't find clear proof. Now God brings clarity where confusion once lived. Do you remember a moment when your hard work was ignored for no reason? God now destroys the structure this person built to block your way. Everything that was hidden begins to surface with unstoppable force. Those who once doubted you now start to see the truth. This enemy will lose credibility, influence, and support. Divine justice leaves no space for ambiguity. Are you ready to see the situation turn in your favor? This enemy feared your intuition because every time they tried to manipulate something, you sensed it. Even if you couldn't explain why, that intuition was your shield. Even when you didn't understand it, God strengthens it now, allowing you to see clearly what once went unnoticed. Truth empowers you, and that empowerment dismantles the influence of someone who tried to hold you back. No one can stop someone protected from above. Have you felt a sudden clarity in professional matters recently? Divine intervention not only dismantles this enemy's plans, but reorganizes your path so you can regain lost ground. Opportunities that seemed closed will reopen. Voices that once ignored you will now seek you out. Your positioning changes, and God ensures that your talent is visible without distortion. Nothing that belongs to you will remain in the hands of someone else. Can you imagine what will happen when your true potential comes to light? God places an unbreakable boundary between you and this person, a barrier that prevents their shadow from infiltrating your path again. The distance that forms is not accidental. It is protection. This figure will lose access to your information, your projects, and your energy. Where there was once confusion, there is now absolute clarity. And within that clarity, you regain your confidence. Do you notice how your spirit strengthens as you understand what was really happening? This enemy will fall without you having to lift a finger, because their downfall is a consequence of their own actions. Words spoken in secret will be revealed. Moves made behind your back will be exposed. Their reputation will face a shift they cannot undo. God does not allow injustice to remain when your spiritual mission is still unfolding. Truth becomes your shield and your victory. Are you prepared to watch masks fall? The envy this person felt toward you now becomes a weight they cannot carry. What once worked from the shadows now becomes useless. Their power dissolves, their influence shrinks, and their strategy collapses. You, however, rise with renewed strength. Your gifts begin to open doors no one will ever close again. Do you feel the difference between someone who walks in light and someone who acts with twisted intentions? God reminds you that nothing you went through was in vain. Every obstacle strengthened your determination. Every injustice sharpened your spiritual sensitivity. Every fall empowered your discernment. Now you walk more aware of your purpose and more protected than ever. The energy that once blocked you no longer has power over you. Can you recognize how much you've grown through these trials? With the fall of this second enemy, something deep unlocks within your life. A path that had been stuck for a long time begins to open. Opportunities flow, decisions become clearer, and your direction realign. God prepares you to face the third enemy, whose connection to you is closer than you think. What comes next will change the way you trust. Are you ready for that revelation? 2 enemies have been defeated by divine intervention, yet 2 still remain, and each one is closer to your inner circle. The last one is still the most surprising, the one you would never expect, the one whose identity I will reveal at the very end when you are prepared to understand it. Before reaching that shocking truth, you must meet the third enemy whose emotional influence on you has been deeper than you admit. God is aligning each step so that nothing remains hidden. Can you feel the truth approaching? What you are about to discover carries a different emotional weight. Because this third enemy does not come from work, nor from a broken bond of the past, but from someone in your family circle or someone very close. Someone who has lived beside you in silence while planting doubts, criticism, and emotional exhaustion. This presence did not attack you directly, but slowly eroded your confidence from invisible angles. God has watched how this person used your sensitivity to control you. Their connection to you is tied by blood upbringing or long-term coexistence, and that is why their impact was so deep. Have you felt that someone close limits you more than they support you? This enemy always presented themselves as a figure of authority or guidance, someone who claimed to know what was best for you while invalidating your own desires. They made you believe you were exaggerating, that your dreams were unrealistic, or that your intuition was imaginary. They minimized your achievements to keep you at a level they could control, and you, out of respect or habit, tolerated far more than you should have. God now breaks that emotional chain you were never meant to carry. How many times did you stay silent just to avoid conflict? The bond between you was built on a wound that did not look like malice, but like conditional love. Love that demanded obedience, sacrifice, or the abandonment of your identity in exchange for peace. This energy marked you from early stages of life. It made you doubt your own worth. It made you believe your emotions were a burden. God now illuminates that hidden area so you can understand what truly happened. Can you see how this influence shaped your way of relating to others? This enemy never accepted your growth because your evolution meant losing control over you. That is why they pointed out your flaws, corrected you harshly, minimized your progress, or compared you to others. Each comment carried a subtle weight of criticism disguised as concern. They never acknowledged your true strength because doing so would mean facing their own insecurity. God now reveals the root of their behavior. Fear. Fear that you would surpass the limits they never overcame. Do you feel how this realization frees you from old guilt? The divine plan intervenes by breaking the psychological influence this person had over you. God detaches you from the fear that kept you obeying patterns that were never yours. He restores your ability to decide from your authentic essence. Now, when this figure tries to impose their will, their weight fades instantly. God lifts you above their projections and shows you that you were never the problem. Can you feel your inner authority returning? This person will begin to face the consequences of their emotional control, because God will not allow anyone to keep suppressing your spirit. What was once hidden under the disguise of advice will now be revealed as manipulation. Family masks are the hardest to see, but also the most necessary to expose. God will show you past memories from a new perspective so you can understand what truly happened. That clarity will give you peace. Are you willing to accept the truth even if it hurts? Your growth will be what completely disarms this enemy. When you stop reacting, when you stop seeking approval, when you stop fearing disappointment, their power dissolves. God strengthens you so their opinion no longer determines your value. You reclaim your path, your voice, and your spiritual identity. And the universe rewards you for daring to break a cycle that lasted years. Do you realize how brave you have been? This person will see the words that once hurt. You lose all effect. They will feel they no longer have the ability to push you toward guilt or fear. Every attempt at manipulation will be returned by God in the form of distance, silence, or evidence. The truth will become undeniable, even for those who once refused to see it, and you will rise with a spiritual maturity they never expected. Can you feel yourself breathing more freely? Divine intervention will also bring new alliances to compensate for the emotional wear this enemy caused. People who truly support you will enter your life. Healthy relationships will replace toxic dynamics. The energy of home and family will transform so you can experience stability. God builds an environment that sustains you instead of draining you. The past stops dictating your future. Are you ready to receive this new kind of love? This enemy will fall not through direct punishment, but through inner revelation. They will face their own loneliness, their own emptiness, their own inability to celebrate others. God will make this person see clearly what they caused you, not for you to suffer, but for you to be free. The weight you carried returns to the one who generated it, and you move forward without resentment, because your soul already learned the lesson. Do you feel the guilt dissolving with the fall of the third enemy? God prepares you for something far greater because the one left is not obvious, not loud, not aggressive, yet has shaped your destiny in ways you still do not understand. Their identity will surprise you. Their connection to you is deep, quiet, and decisive. It is the one you least expect. Are you prepared for revelation that will change your perception of everything? 3 enemies have now been illuminated by divine justice, but the 4th remains unseen, awaiting the exact moment to reveal itself. This final enemy is unlike the others, and its impact is so profound that understanding it will transform your spiritual path forever. God has already decided that the veil must fall, and when it does, you will understand why everything you lived was preparing you for this moment. The truth you never suspected is approaching. Can you feel your soul bracing for it? The truth you have been waiting for arrives now, and its spiritual weight cuts through every remaining resistance in your heart. Because this fourth enemy is not an external person at all, but an inner shadow that has quietly shaped your decisions. This presence lived inside you, disguised as doubt, fear, guilt, and self-sabotage. It was the voice that told you that you couldn't, that you didn't deserve, that you wouldn't succeed. Its connection to you is absolute because it was born from your oldest wounds. God decides to expose it today because it can no longer remain hidden. Do you recognize that inner voice that held you back so many times? This unexpected enemy fed on your insecurities when you were vulnerable, growing stronger every time you underestimated yourself or abandoned something you deeply desired. It didn't come from outside. It came from the part of you that learned to survive, not to shine. It made you doubt even when you were clear. It made you fall even when you were rising. God reveals this shadow so that you can finally break free from it. Do you see now that you are always stronger than you believed? Your bond with this shadow is emotional, psychological, and spiritual because it was shaped by experiences that marked you but were never fully healed. It became an invisible habit, an automatic pattern, a resistance that pulled you back the moment you were about to accomplish something meaningful. This enemy is a version of you, but not your true identity, just a fragment formed by pain. God wants you to see this with compassion, not judgment. Are you willing to see who you are without this burden? This shadow appears every time you fear failing, fear disappointing, or feel you are not enough. It is the root of many decisions made from fear rather than faith. But God shows you now that this voice never represented your true spirit. Your essence is brave, intuitive, and profoundly radiant. What held you back was only a distorted reflection of your past. Can you feel the difference between your authentic soul and that false voice? God intervenes directly to break this inner structure by bringing you awareness, clarity, and an awakening you cannot ignore. Every fear is exposed for what it truly is, an illusion sustained by old memories. Every guilt is replaced with understanding. Every doubt is replaced with purpose. This revelation marks the beginning of your real spiritual expansion. Do you feel a new space opening inside you? This enemy collapses the moment you choose to face it, recognize it, and stop identifying with it. It falls when you move forward even with fear. It falls when you understand that your worth is not tied to perfection, but to your soul. God reveals that what you thought was a flaw was actually a misinterpreted survival mechanism. And when you understand this, your energy shifts forever. Can you imagine your life without that limiting voice? God begins replacing these internal voices with vision, faith, and determination, allowing your gifts to step into the center of your path. What once paralyzed you now becomes momentum. What once made you doubt now becomes clarity. What once stopped you now propels you. The shadow loses all influence because you reclaim control over your narrative. Do you feel your spirit expanding as you accept your true strength? This process brings emotional freedom as well, because external approval no longer matters. When you are no longer your own enemy, no one else can take that place. When your mind stops attacking you, your soul ignites. God leads you into a state where your decisions arise from confidence rather than fear. And that transformation changes everything. Are you ready to walk with a restored identity? The fall of this inner enemy unlocks paths that were blocked by your own resistance. Now you can move forward without sabotaging yourself, without hesitation, without constant self-doubt. The universe responds to your new vibration with opportunities, synchronicities, and people who align with your growth. Nothing and no one can stop what God has awakened within you. Expansion has already begun. Can you feel the forward movement? This revelation helps you understand that you always had the power but lacked clarity. You always had the light, but lacked trust. You always had the destiny, but lacked the inner freedom to pursue it. God does not destroy this enemy to punish you, but to free you from a version of yourself that no longer serves your purpose. Now you understand why this had to be the final revelation. Can you see your life now from a higher perspective? With the fall of this last enemy, your path becomes completely clear. No more inner shadows or external forces can interfere with what God is preparing for you. Your energy is cleansed. Your purpose becomes firm, and your soul awakens. This is the rebirth you needed to reach a level that once felt unreachable. Now you understand why all four enemies had to be revealed. What will you do with this new freedom? God gives you something greater than justice today. He gives you spiritual identity, profound clarity, and a completely renewed destiny. You have watched the fall of those who hurt you, those who envied you, those who manipulated you, and finally, the fall of your own inner shadow. The unexpected enemy was never outside. It was the part of you that needed healing, so you could receive what comes next. You now enter a cycle where nothing will stop you. Are you ready to walk toward what truly belongs to you?